Well, here we go. I know a lot of you have been anticipating this video. And yes, like I posted on my Instagram, I'm no longer under contract, sponsorship, or partnership with Whatnot. That ended as of November, I believe. So it's been a little while. I was a little confused on the dates, but got that worked out. Anyway, I wanted to do my honest review on my 12-month contract with Whatnot. I believe it was the longest contract that they signed for a influencer or comic book influencer at the time, just because of what I was going to be doing. And in this video, I want to talk to you guys about basically the truth about everything that I can experience with Whatnot. Facts are important. I'm going to state facts. If there's anything in dispute here, please, whoever is watching, feel free to ask. I'm pretty sure I've gone through and done some good due diligence to make sure everything is on the up and up. I'm not here to sit here and put a cleaver onto Whatnot. I just want to be honest with my audience. If you know me, I've always been honest with my audience about whatever I'm doing, and I'm not going to leave anything out. So if there's anything that's supposed to be embarrassing towards Whatnot, it is what it is. Nobody is perfect, myself included. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. This might be a long-winded video because there is a lot to cover, obviously 12 months. But do me a favor, if you don't want to listen to everything, there is some pretty interesting things in here all throughout the video. But if you want to skip to the last few minutes, it'll be my summary of everything and kind of my feelings on everything, so you can do that as well. But there is some pretty cool points. I don't know about cool, but there is some points in here that you're going to want to find out. We'll be talking about the C2E2, the conventions, pretty much everything you can imagine that I went through for the first 12 months, starting from the very beginning. And so let's go ahead and do that starting from the very beginning. First off, I was approached by Whatnot back in 2021 to jump on their service and do something. I was approached by Jack DeMeo, aka Mr. Bolo. The first few times I was not interested. I didn't really know too much about it, and so I turned him down and stuff, and that was fine. Then I kind of decided to jump on the Bueller bus, and I wanted to do this project. Now, just so you know, the Bueller bus was before Whatnot even came aboard. This was going to happen no matter what. But once Whatnot found out about my idea to travel America and to go to comic shops and comic conventions, they really wanted me on board. So they really started coming after me and saying, hey, we want to be a part of this project and all this stuff. And finally, I decided to hear them out and hear what they had to say. I think we were at a convention somewhere and we had drinks that night. And so I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So let's have a talk and see what we can figure out. So let me kind of go through a little bit of a timeline here. Like I said, I was vetted for a few times. And then what had happened was, I got a few different messages and stuff, and they mentioned what they wanted to do. They wanted to wrap the bus. The initial wrap, what they wanted to do to the bus, I was not a fan of. I let them know. I think I said something like it looked like something from Screech from Saved by the Bell would have done with a 1,000-pack of clip art, and I wasn't a fan. And I gave them my interpretation of what the van should look like. We were way off, to be honest. But then we kind of hit in the middle. And actually, I'll be honest, I kind of settled because I wanted to hit the road. And it was taking some time to get the plans ironed out and stuff like that. But then we sat down to have the contract. And I will say, tell you this. This is the reason why I decided to sit down and sign the contract with them. And the main reason was I got a message from Jack DeMeo, and I'll read it here. Give me a quick second here. Okay, here we go. On October 28th, I got a message from Jack saying the company is prepared to support your project for the duration of the event. And that right there meant, you know what? I can do this for a long time. I'm excited to do this. Like they said, or like Jack had said, for the duration of the event. As you guys know, I am still on the road doing this event. And that kind of sold me right there to sit down and sign the contract. So literally within the next couple days, we sat down and signed the contract. Now the contract was for 1 year, started November 1st, 2021, and went all the way till November 1st or November 2022, just a few months ago. And I just want to let you guys know what was involved on the contract. First up was obviously they wanted to wrap the bus, including their logos on the side and the front and the back, and their logos everywhere on the bus. It's on the front, it's on the back, it's on the left side and the right side. There's also their barcode on the left side of the bus, the driver's side, where you can download the app. Still active to this day right now. I think you pretty much, yeah, actually I tried it the other day. It worked just fine. So it's still active. It's still on the side of the bus, kind of like a billboard, a traveling billboard. So they wanted to be on board with that. So they wrapped the bus. It was not a cheap project, so my hats off to them to getting the wrap, and they paid for everything to be done. They also agreed for a well, I'm just going to put the dollar amount out there. It's $1,000 a month stipend, influencer agreement, whatever you want to call it, to help me purchase items or help my travels or stuff like that. And that was supposed to be provided every single month for the 12 months of the contract. Well, unfortunately, that wasn't the case, because it wasn't going to start up until I actually left, until I actually started traveling. At that time in November, I was still working on the bus, still getting it wrapped, so I wasn't traveling yet. So there was no payments coming in until I left, and that was in April, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. Also, as a part of that contract deal, there were some loose things like we will help you promotions, Comic-Con events. Nothing really set in stone. Like I can pick out and say this is what they guaranteed to do, but just help promote and provide support towards Comics with Bueller and the Bueller Bus experiment, whatever you want to call it, which is great. I thought it was awesome. On return, I had to do auctions on their Whatnot platform. I had to have their links in my videos. Obviously, drive around in the bus with their logo. And let's be honest, you know, it's a different contract compared to other influencers, and I'm just going to use names of my friends like Gem Mint or Comic Tom. Their agreements, whatever they've had, is based on selling and all that stuff. I said from the very beginning, and Jack knows this, I'm not a seller. That's not what I do. That's not what I've ever really done. And I've gone online saying I don't like selling books, and they knew that. But the project was the bus itself. The bus is what really got them excited to be a part of, and I get it. So it's a little bit different than if you compare it to other influencers. So me driving around the country, having a bus parked out in front of every comic shop, not every one so far, but we're working on it, with the logo of Whatnot and all this stuff, you know, that has value. They saw the value in that, and they wanted to make it happen, so we did. So we signed the contract on November 1st, 2021, good for a year. And like I said, payments will start when I start hitting the road and driving to all these shops. Okay, I think I got covered as far as what my obligation was. Like I said, I would drive around. I would promote their product. I would also have their links in there. I'd also do shows on their platform and stuff like that, which I did. And we will talk about that experience a little bit later, because I believe that experience deserves its own little department or whatnot. So, but let me get to the my very first impressions of when I first met them and first started being vetted by them. I felt very important, and I think I went on record saying, and I actually said this to another influencer of a different market, a very large market or whatnot that he does in the video game thing, and I actually pitched Whatnot to him, saying that Whatnot is the first company that really made me feel my value for what I was worth, for what I was bringing to the comic book community and stuff like that. And I pitched that to him, hopefully that he would sit down with them and work out a deal. And I don't know if that ever happened. That's beyond me. And I'm not really here to talk about other people's experiences. I might reference a little bit, but not too much. So my first experience, my first few months was pretty good. Besides that, we didn't really agree on the bus wrap, graphics and stuff like that. I came around to it. I actually kind of like it. I think it looks pretty cool and stuff like that. So I appreciate that. And my talks with Chancellor and Jack DeMeo, aka Mr. Bolo, Very great talks. I really enjoyed talking with them. Made me feel really important. Made me feel as though they were on board for the duration of this event, like I was told. And so I thought we were good to go. And there was talks, other talks about having the bus on display at Comic-Cons. I was going to go to MegaCon. I was going to go to C2E2. I was going to go to New York Comic-Con. Have the bus in the booth. That was talked about. There was talks about promotions at comic shops or like events like at the Grand Canyon, stuff like that. All of these loose talks that aren't in the contract that we talked about, unfortunately, none of that happened. Not one thing. And that is fine because it wasn't written down in the contract. There was nothing signed saying that that would happen. But there was talks that we had multiple times about those events. Unfortunately, none of those happened, and we'll get to that a little bit because we'll talk about the Comic-Cons as well. But first thing I want to talk about, and this is the kind of the first thing I noticed, or things might, the infrastructure at whatnot might not be in place for how fast they're growing. And growing fast, that's a good problem to have. So don't get me wrong, you know, it is what it is. How they're growing massively and getting all these new people on board and stuff like that, I don't think they had enough people in place to handle that. And with all the events they were doing, hopefully they fix that in the future. But like I said, that's not a bad problem. You don't want to have a problem where you have to lay off too many people because you don't have work for people. It's the opposite for them. But the first month I noticed April, when I hit the road. So I talked to the Chancellor the first week of April, and he said my payment should be there within a couple days. And I was like, great, that'll be awesome. We're on the road. Obviously, it's expensive to be on the road right now. As you guys know, back then the gas is extremely high, and it's still high now, but it was crazy back then. Anyway, April 1st goes around, a couple weeks go by, and still no payment. I still haven't received my monthly agreement for my $1,000. So on April 12th, and I wrote all these down, April 12th, I notified Jack. I said, still haven't received payment. He responded to me saying that he's on it. Great. I have no reason to feel as though he's not. April 15th rolls around, just a few days later. I still haven't received payment. I notified Jack again, and then within that day, I did receive payment. So I did get it April 15th, and we were good to go. So anyway, I was like, okay, it was a little bit late. You know, they're new to this, and maybe they just have to get it set up and all that good stuff. And then May rolls around, and so on May 5th, I still haven't received anything, and so I messaged them asking, is there a certain day of the week I should expect to receive payment? I get a message from Jack. He said, we can get you set up to a custom date. Usually it'll hit by the end of the first week of the month, so whatever the end of the first week is of that month, no more than 7 days. I believe your payment is scheduled to drop tomorrow. May 6th. So I was like, great, that sounds awesome. That works for me. No problem at all. Time goes on. We're still in May. May 10th, May 15th, May 20th, May 25th. Still no payment. I send another message on May 25th letting them know that, okay, it says, I sent this to Jack, and it says, Jack, hello. I really hate having this conversation. I really do. I hate talking money and bugging you guys about this, but I still haven't received any payment for this month. Last month, I got it on the 15th after hitting you guys up a couple times. This month, I've talked to Chancellor a few times, was supposed to see a payment a couple weeks ago, and nothing till now, the 25th. Talked with Chancellor last week, and he said I would have it this past weekend so I could possibly get some stuff at MegaCon because that was coming up, but nothing showed up again. Chatted with him on Monday, said it should be there that day or the next day. Now totally still nothing. I really need to have a set day for this as I'm planning out my travels and stores I'm hitting. Like I said, I hate having this conversation or talking money for that matter, but it's becoming a problem and something I'm not able to count on. Sorry for the long message. I know you're busy. I do want you guys to know how much I appreciate everything you've done. So that was my message to them on the 25th. of May because I still hadn't received payment. Jack then responds to me. He says it's totally right. I'll get this taken care of totally, and commit to taking care of this the first week of the month myself going forward. So I finally did receive payment that month on May 27th. And I'm not going to bore you guys with the rest, but this was an ongoing problem. This was never solved. I was never received payment on the first of the month or the first week of the month. I can actually tell you what dates I ever got them. June, the next month, was the 13th. July was the 21st. August was the 18th. September was the 19th. October was the 27th. And then November was the 18th. So there was never any of that taken care of. Now, the reason why those payments are different dates because I would have to message them constantly saying, hey, the first week is over. I still haven't received payment. And it's depending on when I sent those messages is when I would eventually receive payment. It was something that was never addressed, I think, the way it was promised to. It was very frustrating for all those months to not know when that money was going to be available and not being able to count on it. I do not think that that was done on purpose. I don't think that it was done maliciously by any means. I think that my priority was lost as time went on. And as much as maybe I had somewhat of a priority in the beginning, as time goes on and bigger accounts come in and other things happen, Travis, or Comics with Bueller, gets kind of pushed down the list. And it is what it is. They always did pay me every month, but it was never set up to where I could count on it. Like I said, in October, it didn't show up till the 27th, almost the end of the month. And I messaged them multiple times on that month to say, hey, what's going on? And it just is what it is. So the payment problem I had with them, it's a little bit different than probably what you guys are expecting to hear from. But it was an issue. I have other sponsors. I send them a invoice. I get paid as soon as I get it, like the first week of the month. This is the only sponsor I've ever had a problem with where I can't count on it. And this is my biggest sponsor, or it was my biggest sponsor. So that was a huge issue for me. It was very, very disappointing because, like I said, from the very first month that they were supposed to pay, it was like pulling teeth to make it happen. And every month got a little bit worse and a little bit worse. And it just felt like I was just at the bottom of the barrel, bottom of the list to be taken care of. Like I said, I don't think it was malicious. I don't think it was on purpose. I just think that, oh yeah, we'll get to it when we get to it. And it's not like they were being lazy. It's just like a whole bunch of other stuff piled up on top of it. So I wanted to let you guys know, as far as the payments go, how that worked out for me. And it wasn't an easy situation. I do want to preface that by saying they did pay me every month. There was actually a couple bonuses in there, which was kind of nice. I didn't expect those. But it wasn't something constant I could count on. And it really put a damper on what I could do on my travels, because not knowing, after what they said, that, hey, we'll set this up at the first of the week. It never happens for the whole 10, 12 months of the contracts. Anyway, that is the payment situation right there. Let me jump to the Comic-Cons and stuff like that. Let me kind of just explain to you guys about the Comic-Con events and my travels. So like I said, I was going to travel to comic shops and travel to Comic-Cons all throughout the United States. I'm still doing that today. They're all on board. They're excited for this. I'm going to be parking this bus in front of all these comic shops and hopefully inside the convention. So the first convention I get to is a MegaCon. And MegaCon was an eye-opener for me. And when I first got there, for one, they were going to have passes for me. It was almost impossible to get a hold of them when they were there. And I get it because they were extremely busy. But I couldn't even find a pass to get in there. And luckily, a friend of mine, Chuck, from Chuck Load of Comics, was able to give me a pass because he was doing the DJing or the announcer thing for MegaCon. So he gave me a pass to get in and stuff like that. So that worked out just fine. I didn't have to pay nothing. I got in. So I got in, went and talked to the people at the booth and stuff like that, at the Whatnot booth. Jack was there. First time I'd seen him in quite some time. He was excited to see me. They gave me a stack of books. They said, hey, you're on tomorrow at like noon on the stage or whatnot to sell these and stuff. And I still hadn't used the app yet. They were going to show me how to use it. Chancellor showed me how to use it, like, I don't know, maybe that day or something like that. I can't remember the timeline. But then I was good to go. Now, all these books that they gave me, and this is an interesting story. They were all the Whatnot exclusives and all this stuff and the Invincibles and all these things, a stack of books. I'll be honest, I had no clue what any of them were. I really didn't. And I was like, okay, here we go. And then I go, and like later that day, I went and sat down at a table and I looked them up, what they were. I didn't know what the ratio variants were, but people were looking for them. People were excited and stuff like that. So I do my show the next morning on the Whatnot app at the booth or whatnot. And then a few of my friends helped me. Hialeah, he helped me. And just a little podcast. Another guy, he helped me as well. And I'm forgetting his name. My apologies. But anyway, we're selling these books and stuff on this app. And I really had a hard time with the app. It was going really fast. The print's really small. I can't see it that well. I'm just a little bit older. It is what it is. It's not their problem. But I'm selling these books that they gave me. And this is a true conversation I had later that night with Hialeah. And I asked him if it was okay if I shared this with you. I felt a little weird selling those books. Like I didn't know. God, I don't even know how to put it. It just didn't feel like I was selling things that had value to them, if that makes any sense. Because there were all these exclusives and stuff, and I know the true value of a book. And I said to him, I don't know what I'm selling. I'm selling this stuff. I have no clue what it is, and people are paying this price for them. I know what a true value of a book is. I know what a true value of a ASM 50 is. I don't know what a true value of this second print, reprint of something, number one. But yet I'm sitting there selling it. And honestly, I felt a little dirty, I guess you'd say. And he knew exactly what I was talking. He kind of felt the same way. Because I know my value of the books, or value of books that have true value. But all these variants and reprints and all this stuff that hey, these are limited to 100. Well, they're only limited to the 100 that you wanted to make. You could have made as many as you want. I don't know. One thing I did notice, which was kind of nice, which actually made me feel a little bit better, I saw these same books that I sold, and then I saw them selling on other people's channels for like 2 or 3 times as much. Because they have a bigger following, and they're better salesmen. I don't know, whatever it is. So I did take in the fact that, hey, maybe some of my audience got some really good deals. Like I said, I don't know the value of these books. Maybe I'm selling them from under value, and they're getting more value for them. So that actually made me feel a little bit better for selling these books, even though I had no idea what they were. And I think my next auction, I had my own books on there, and it was a little bit better. I enjoyed selling books that I actually know about and stuff like that. But I said to myself going forward, I'm going to make sure that when I do have these comp books that they give me, I'm going to make sure to try to sell them for as low as possible. Maybe not what they want to hear, because the point of the Whatnot app is obviously making money. And like I said before, and I'll talk about the Whatnot app itself here in a little bit, but it is just an app. So it's just a piece of technology. You either use it or you don't. That's all there is to it. If you have an opinion on it, don't use it. If you don't like it, you don't use it. If you like it, you use it. It's literally as easy as that. But anyway, we're still at MegaCon, and we're hanging out, and there's a lot of hype for Whatnot and stuff like that. And the bus is outside. We didn't work out a deal to where it would be on display or anything, so I was a little disappointed. And this is something that bothered me right away, and this actually went on for the next few conventions. But and I didn't say anything to Whatnot about this. But here's Whatnot. They spent all this money on to get wrapped the bus and stuff like that. Not one person from Whatnot, Jack DeMayo, whoever you want to is in the booth. I don't know all the names. Not one person out of all the Comic-Cons I went to from Whatnot took the time to walk out the door and go look at the bus. And that pissed me off, okay? It still pisses me off to this day. But not one person from Whatnot took the time to come out and either take a picture of the bus to help promote it like they said they were going to do, or did anything like that to even look at the bus. Not one Whatnot employee has stepped foot inside this bus. They had multiple chances to do it. I understand that they're busy. I'm not asking for a half hour. I'm asking for 2 minutes. And I asked multiple times. Nobody walked out here and saw the bus. Took a picture of it. Even though when it was at MegaCon, it was 100 feet from the door. Not one person came and saw it. It is what it is. And that was another red flag for me that was like, you know what? I'm not that important to them. Or at least I don't feel as though I was as important to them as I used to. And so that bothered me quite a bit. Let's move on again to the next Comic-Con that we went to, which was C2E2. And we all know about C2E2 and Acetate Gate and stuff. And this is where I might piss some of you guys off. There's a lot of stuff going on at C2E2 and a lot of this thing like, oh, Whatnot prefers these people and does this, and they put them in front of the line, make sure they get this because they're sponsored by Whatnot, and Whatnot gives preferential treatment to them so they can get more stuff. If that is the case, I never received any of it. I never received any. I never got extra bonuses for or them promoting my shows. I never got anything putting more audience in there. I never got like pushed in the front of the line or anything like that. So any of that stuff that you've heard other people talk about who doesn't have any experience with Whatnot but has every opinion in the world about it, I sat there under contract with 12 months with Whatnot. And all the stuff that you've heard as far as like all these influencers getting special treatment and all this stuff, I didn't receive any of it. Maybe I'm an anomaly. Maybe the others did, but I can't account for them. I was never pushed in front of a line. I was never given this or given that, you know. All I was saying was, all I got was my monthly payment, which was great. I show up at the Comic-Cons. I said hello. They said, hey, there's your time in the booth. That was it. And that was it. And that was literally it. And as far as C2E2 goes, I was standing not too far away from where the acetate line is, or whatever that was for the Spider-Man thing. There was no Comic Tom in the line there, which his name was brought up. His dad and Russ was brought up as well. They weren't even in Chicago. They were still back in the Pacific Northwest because I was there all week. And then Tom didn't show up till later that day. So for him, his name to be shown, said that he was in the line. I know he wasn't because he didn't show up till later that afternoon at the con. So I was very upset when I heard all this stuff about that. I was like, none of these people's names that were being brought up were even involved. It didn't matter. People just went on their own tangent and just, you know, they got a bunch of views on YouTube and they just ran for it. They didn't care what they were saying, if it's true or false. So anyway, all the stuff about the promotions, about the like special treatment, if they received it, I'm not aware of it. I never received any of it at all from them. Like I said, it was kind of like pulling teeth to get stuff out of them, to be honest, because they were always focused on other things. And so if I debunk some of the things by saying that, well, it is what it is. It's just my experience. And all I saw is that I know that Skeff showed me a copy of a slab book, and it was an acetate book, and he said, look what I got. And I was like, oh, that's great. That was it. That's all I ever was involved with that at all. I don't know what other stuff they got. I don't pay attention to that stuff. From what I understand, that book sold for like $100 in line for a reprint of a book. I wouldn't pay $100 for the original, to be honest, because I'm a cheap guy, so whatever. But yeah, I never received any special treatment or promotion or bumped to the front of the line on anything when that comes to that aspect. Never received more people in my auctions for anything. You know, I barely got 20 people in there most of the time, and I have 25,000 people on YouTube that have watched my videos or subscribed. So it is what it is. My personal thoughts on the app, as far as what it does, I think that the more you put into it, the more you get, to be honest. I've perfect example. Some of friends of mine, Discovery Bay Comics, he's put a lot into it. It's doing really well. I've met some comic shops. They put a lot into it. They're doing really well. Then some other people try it for a couple weeks, they get burnt out, they just don't like it, and it doesn't go anywhere. And that's what it is. I think you get what you put into it. And if you want to be successful on it, you just got to keep doing it, I guess. That's the common thread. You keep going, and eventually you start to pick up an audience. Like I gave you a couple of perfect examples of that. Maybe not for everybody, but it is what it is. So that was the Chicago, and I will say again, nobody came out to see the bus. I was parked right outside the convention center in a parking lot. I stayed there for 3 days in a sweaty parking lot. It was gross. And but then that was that. And then I was on my way to the next convention, which was New York. And I want to clear something up about New York as well. I had sent a message to Jack about New York. I said, "Hey man, I'm running into a problem. Do you have any ideas where I could park the bus or where I could put the bus? Because I'm assuming that you don't have any a place for me to put in the convention center," which was not a problem, even though we talked about that. I get it. The booth is different and set up and everything. Jack got back to me saying, "Hey, well, I'll run it by the team, see what we can figure out, or if we have any ideas." That was it. Okay, they didn't guarantee anything like that. I know some people said, "Oh, they left me hanging." No, I mean, I just asked them if they knew of anything. I didn't really get much of a response after that, but it wasn't like they promised me something and they didn't deliver. That wasn't the case. I asked them if they had any ideas. I didn't have any ideas, neither did they, for that matter, so it is what it is. I ended up driving the bus back to Portland and then flying back to New York Comic-Con and spending the weekend at New York Comic-Con, hopefully to hang out with Whatnot and do the stuff there. New York is very important to my experience with Whatnot, so let me talk about New York Comic-Con. This was back in September, I think it was, October. Whatever New York Comic Con was. Obviously, my contract was coming up. Curious what was going on with that, because my communication with Whatnot has been very not that great, to be honest. But I did talk to Jack. He assured me that they're on board for they want to be on board for long term. Made me feel really good. I talked to Chancellor. He had asked me what my plans for the future were. I said, hey, eventually I want to get a new bus. They said, hey, we'd love to wrap that as well. Made me feel pretty good, as though they were on board. And because I was a little wishy-washy when I came in there, just because of the lack of communication that I had from them. But when I left New York, I felt really good. I felt really good from what Chancellor said. I felt really good from what Jack has said as well. And I felt as though we're going to be on board for long term, like I was told at the very beginning that they were on board for the duration of this project. That's what I was anticipating. So left New York, went home. I did all my stuff there, just kind of hanging out. Okay. I also want to address the exclusives. They did do a couple of exclusives for me. They did a Ninja Gaiden #1. They printed that for me. They gave them to me. They said you could do whatever you want with them. All the profits go to you, whatever you want to do. I appreciate that. They also did the Ninja Funk #1 exclusive for me. They printed all those. They paid for that as well. Same deal. All the profits go towards me and the Bueller bus. That's a really great project, and that was very helpful. Unfortunately, that comes at the very end of the contract, okay? So it really doesn't... that type of promotion that we did for the Ninja Funk thing should have been one of the very first things we did. And going forward, that way, as I travel, I have something to give to the people I meet. Something to hand out, something to share. And that was the original idea that we had to promote the bus and Whatnot together and the partnership and stuff like that. So I literally get the Ninja Funk book at the tail end, and then I actually, at the same time, it was lost. We didn't know where it was. When I was making the videos where is this is missing, nobody knew where it was. I hadn't heard nothing. I hadn't seen nothing. And, it came a month later than it originally was supposed to come. I didn't know for sure it was coming or not. To be honest, I had never seen a physical copy. I've seen the likeness on one of the little cards that they were doing, but I've never seen the actual book itself, like a physical copy of the book. There was some confusion there. I don't know for sure, but bottom line is it did get made, it did get done, and I was able to give some out or sell some to the comic book community. So thank you for Whatnot for doing that. And these books were agreed upon months in advance, or brought to my attention, I should say, saying that, hey, we want to do these for you down the line, da-da-da-da. I said, sure, that sounds great. And they did. So it came out eventually. Okay, so now that I've kind of given you a summary of everything, and the light just went off there because I used all the battery. I want to give you my closing thoughts on Whatnot itself and everything that kind of went down. I gave myself a few days to make this video. I didn't want to be emotional, but I just wanted to think things through now that I'm no longer sponsored, promoted, or under contract with them. As far as Whatnot goes, the app, like I said earlier, it's just an app. It's just a piece of technology that you can use to sell books or sell whatever. And if you want to use it, you can. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to. That's the way I look at it. Is it perfect? No. Are they working on making it better? Yeah, I believe they are a company who is trying to listen and make things better and more accessible. Do I think they've made some mistakes along the way? Absolutely, as most new companies do. The real test of a company is if they keep on making those mistakes, or if they make something better or try to fix them. I would like to believe that they do want to make it better and do want to fix them going forward. So me looking at the app itself, the physical app itself, that's kind of the way I look at it. It's not for everybody. Personally, I have a hard time using it. It's like I said at the beginning, I don't like selling comic books, so that kind of doesn't fit for me. But you know what? It is what it is. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, use something else. It's as easy as that. As far as all the other noise around Whatnot and the people behind the scenes and the people you want to attach to, maybe like Jack and stuff like that, I can say that my experiences with Jack and Chancellor has been nothing but positive. I enjoyed talking to them both. I think they had good intentions, and I can't say anything more than that. I will say that when I put this post out on Instagram and I was making this video, I received a call within 5 minutes from Chancellor saying, hey, is everything okay? And I said, yeah, I'm just going to state the truth. That's what it is. I'm going to say the truth. And I think my audience deserves it. He's like, okay, it is, and he actually said, hey, maybe we can do something together in February. So contact me next month. I was like, okay, sounds good. Now, my initial conversation after I didn't, the contract wasn't renewed, I talked to Chancellor. It wasn't what I wanted to hear. I didn't want to hear that they were no longer going to be under contract with me. That wasn't what I was expecting at all, considering that we were still doing the exclusive in November and the contract was up. And my initial response from them was, hey, we're going to be with you for the duration. And then obviously my conversations in New York Comic Con in September, October, were all positive, like, yes, this is a long-term thing. So when I hear that they're not seeing the value, and I thought a lot about this. Obviously, if they don't want to renew the contract, they're not seeing the value in what I do. And I have a problem with that. And I want to tell you why. I am driving around the country in this bus with their logo on every side of the bus, with their barcode on the front of the bus where you can download their app. I am parking in front of every comic shop that I go to. Hundreds and hundreds of comic shops, conventions, people's houses, everywhere, down the road, gas stations, everywhere. The average price of a billboard in America is like $1,000 for the cheap end. In Chicago, it's like $10,000 a month. I've been to Chicago. In Phoenix, it's about $2,000 a month. I'm in Phoenix right now. Is there a value to what I'm doing here? Yeah, there is. My other sponsors see the value of it. They're like, they don't understand why they wouldn't want to renew. I don't understand why they wouldn't want to renew with me. It's not what I was told. There is value to what I'm doing for them. For them to not recognize it and say, nope, we're good, I'm not okay with that. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with every time I walk out of the car and I see that on there, I'm like, there it is, sitting there for free. There is a value to that. If you think I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. Do you think what I'm doing doesn't have any value? The whole reason they wanted to wrap the bus with their logo and their barcode and everything, because they knew it had a value to it. Now, I'm still doing what I'm doing, but they've decided we don't need to pay for it. What other way can I look at it? If I'm looking at it the wrong way and I'm asking this to Whatnot, let me know. Now, I received a message from Jack right after I put that response out there that I was going to do the video. And I'll read it that I got from Jack. And this is after I put my Instagram post. He says, "Thank you so much for all you did in the last year. I am sorry we couldn't execute on utilizing you more." As we talked about during this video, that's pretty much what was the case. I think we were a year early in being able to properly activate around the bus. Well, if you were a year early, then that would mean that this is the year. You see what I'm saying? And so renew for this year is probably the best thing to do. And but I totally agree. I think you were a year early, and this would be the year. So anyway, even though I was told we wouldn't be moving forward on a renewal of an existing deal, I will definitely be looking for ways we can work together in the future. You have been an absolute pleasure. I truly appreciate you. Well, I do appreciate that, Jack, and thank you for so much for getting back to me or leaving that message and stuff like that. I would hope that you can see, and I'm speaking directly to Jack on this right now because he's probably watching. I would hope you could see where I would have a little disdain right now. Obviously, our communication hasn't been great over the last few months, and you've said that to me multiple times, and it is what it is. And I understand that you guys are busy and have a extremely growing company going very fast with a lot of moving parts. But just because that's the case, it doesn't mean you let the little guy slide, okay? And I understand I'm a little guy, and the little guy has been left to slide away because, you know, you're dealing with other bigger accounts, and that's fine. But that's not a great way to do business, because the little guy is the one who makes your business go round. It's the little guy that goes on there and buys stuff on the app. It's the little guy that goes on there that becomes the seller, okay? There's 1,000 of us, but there's only one Ric Flair, okay? There's 10,000 of us, and there's only one, you know, whatever. You guys understand what I'm saying? There's value in what I brought to the table. There's still value right now to what I bring to the table. And I'm a little upset about the fact that they can't recognize that. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. Let me know. Say, hey, it is what it is, and you don't deserve anything more. If that's the case, maybe I have to rethink what the hell I've been doing. So anyway, that's a little bit... I just wanted to be honest. That's how I feel. You know, I've signed contracts with people before, fulfilled the contracts, did everything they needed to do, and then we left no problem at all. But they didn't leave a banner on the side of my bus that looks like a billboard, or a banner on my house and stuff, and say, have fun on your drives. They know what I'm doing. They know where I'm going and what I want to do. I was told that they would be on board for the duration of this project. I had no reason to think not, and that's just not the case. Business is business. I guess things changed, and maybe they're going in a different direction. Obviously, I'm not included in that direction at the moment. I don't know. It's a little disheartening. I'm not trying to burn bridges. I'm just trying to let you guys know how I feel and the truth about the matter. I would hope that, you know, as far as my experience with Whatnot, I wouldn't say it was negative. I wouldn't say it was positive. I'd say there's a lot of room for growth. And if I got the opportunity and the situation was right, I would do business with them again if they would recognize the value, because there is a constant value. Okay, the bus is not going away. It is what it is, and I'm driving around. I'm literally in front of Jesse James Comic Shop, who has a different comic network, shopping network on Facebook, and Whatnot is parked out in front of his store, and that has some value, and I would hope that they would recognize it. Anyway, this is a long video. I'm sorry. I probably missed some things here and there. If anyone wants me to come on and do a interview about some of this and ask specific questions, I'd be more than happy to come and do any interviews. I'll probably do a live stream shortly after this for any questions that I missed, and kind of cover the bases and stuff like that, because I know I missed some stuff. And anyway, I would say going forward, I'm looking for other sponsors for the bus. Like I said, I'm not closing the door on Whatnot. I just think that a lot of things would have to be on the up and up. And I don't know. Time will tell, right? I thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys. You guys are the reason the Bueller Bus is around, not them, not the sponsors and stuff. They help, yes, but you guys are the reason I've been able to do this. This was a project on the table long before Whatnot came into town, and it's a project that's going to be going even longer, even after other things happen. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate you. Sorry if this is long-winded. But it is what it is. Any other questions, let me know in the comments down below. And like I said, I'll talk to you guys sometime, other interview or a live chat soon. All right. Appreciate you guys. Bye.